Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the Underworld. The Star Wars Underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The Underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the Underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun, and it's all-around good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
Whoa! I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
Why am I not in the intro? I gotta come up with a snappy line.
What's up, Star Wars fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast. We are your source for the latest breaking Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion each and every week. And this week on the show, we're going to be breaking down some massive casting news from Star Wars Starfighter. You could almost say that this news is bigger on the inside. Plus, we'll catch up with all the Star Wars happening from San Diego Comic-Con and answering your questions. My name is Chris. I feel like I want to say back from San Diego because that's what I always say. But I can't say that this week.
Single tier.
Dominic Jones.
Yeah. Hello, Chris. Hello, Ben. Hello, everybody. Yeah. We talked 2 weeks ago on the show about how we were all sad not to be at Comic-Con this year. I don't think we conveyed just how distraught we were because we were so distraught we took last week off. Yeah, we can't cope with not being there, so we took the week off. But it's good to be back. Excited to talk about that Starfighter news, and excited that we all know where we'll be in like 16 months' time as well. I'm pretty excited about that. It's gonna be a great show.
Heck yes! Also joining us, it's Ben Hart, the Star Wars guy.
How's it going, everybody? I love the fact that we've had such a slow time since Andor with news and everything, and then the 1 week we take off, like stuff actually happens, like George Lucas Comic-Con, all this crazy stuff's happening. But yeah, we'll try to catch up on at least some of it tonight. Because yeah, a couple big things happened that. There was one in particular that like, wow, they're announcing that now. Wow, okay. I mean, I was kind of figuring it would happen, but yeah, very exciting.
Yeah. Ben, before we get to deep into stuff and get into the news, I have a quick question for you. Can you lend me $450?
Depends. I'm gonna need to know. I'm gonna need to know where this money is going first.
Oh, I have this great idea for an investment. I thought, it'd be really nice to invest in something, big, something that we could all share together, something that we could, bring us together in service of the glorious Grand Army of the Republic. Would you help me out and help me back the latest HasLab, which is, of course, the clone gunship? We have 32 days.
Only if you mail it to me 6 months out of the year. Okay, and then I will build a house around this. And
okay, so you'll front me the cash for $449.99 at some point in the next 32 days, 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 11 seconds. You'll help me out there.
Sounds like a solid deal.
Do you guys see this at a Comic-Con? The new HasLab.
What is the scale? That's my question.
This is the vintage collection. So this would be 3 3/4 inch scale.
But I have one.
But it's bigger.
I heard people complaining that they're doing this. We have one. I have one of these. These have been out there, but
I literally have that.
And the stretch goals are you get I think you get ETH Koth. You get Agent Collar.
No. You don't get ETH. You don't get ETH Koth, Ben. You don't get ETH Koth. You get Agent Collar.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, the first stretch goal is Coleman Trevor. Second stretch goal is CC Tin. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Sacy Teen. And then tier 3 is Agent Kolar. I also at one point had a 3 3/4 inch scale CC tin.
I still do. I have multiple.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure I do. It's buried somewhere.
I have the one that came with the Jedi Council. I have the one that came on the blue card back from 2002. And I think pretty sure I have the one that came in the bubble from 2005 too.
I was gonna say I got the Saga collection. I don't know. It might have been a repack of one of those ones you were describing there. But yes, the gunship. It's apparently this is the thing because the response people have had the same response, Chris. That like they had this, we got this. Apparently, it's bigger. that's their pitch here is that it's bigger.
Make it 3 3/4. I mean, sorry, make it 1/6. Scale.
Yeah, the 6 scale. Yeah. It says here, outfit your troopers for battle with this new gunship, upgraded from Hasbro's smaller previous 3 3/4 inch scale release at approximately 28 inches long, 30.9 inches wide. They didn't want to go for the extra 1/10 of an inch to get it to 31 inches for some reason, and 10.6 inches tall without the stand. Let your figures blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's the HasLab. I mean, it's cool to see. I will say it's cool to see like a prequel thing get the HasLab treatment. The most successful ones have been like original trilogy based or the Mandalorian and the Ghost got its due, I believe. Right. It's good to see the prequels, but I don't know, it's neat, it's cool, but I kind of liked the Lego one better, you know.
I mean, I've in my own personal collecting habits, I have obviously I've geared myself more towards Lego because I'm like, I get an experience out of it. I get to build it. I don't just get it in a packaging. Like that's my deal with it. So like that's what I've been, either spending my money on, or if anybody wants to give me a gift, I'm like, give me Lego. But like, and I do like that, like, okay, yeah, this is a prequel thing, and maybe they're trying to dip their toe in the water. They're like, okay, because some of the HasLabs have failed. They've had some come up short.
The Rancor.
So maybe they're trying to go with the safe choice. Like this is arguably one of the most iconic and one of the most, one of the most important vehicles in the prequel trilogy. So like, and the Clone Wars too. So, very iconic, very cool. I mean, yes, of course, if I had the money, I would buy it. Just for me, okay? I'm not sharing it.
Here's a question. Here's a question that I have. Okay, does it attach to the ATTE?
No, it looks like it's just got the floor.
That's the only reason I could think of getting it is if it attaches to ATTE and it could drop it. Like something
yeah.
Or like if they did a HasLab where it was the ATTE and the ATT hauler thing, that little the clamps on it that you see dropping them, that would be a cool like big 2-piece HasLab set.
I'm pretty sure this thing like in 2002 was $40, so it's wild that it's 10 times as much.
I was gonna say it is interesting, and this is that the market for Star Wars toys and vehicles in particular has changed so much where during the prequel era these things were just being made. They were just things you could go out and buy. It was almost expected. And like think about it, forget the more modern stuff of the last 5 years. Like go back to the sequel era. They weren't making vehicles like this. Like what vehicle? Like there may be some for the Force Awakens, like Rey's speeder. I know that at one point they had the big ass TIE fighter. But besides that, it's just sort of gone away from that, and everything has been channeled into this crowdfunding model where you really have to want it to get it. And enough people have to get it.
Arguably, the sequel trilogy is the reason this thing exists. Like the TIE fighter, you can't see it, but it's right there. That thing. That is the reason the HasLab program exists.
Yeah, because for everybody who's watching, if you look right at the top of Ben's shelf.
If you watch previous shows, you've seen this thing. But like that thing is massive, and they released it. They just made it and they released it, and it didn't do well. It I think they came up short on that one because it ended up. I think I got that one for like $10, $15.
Oh my gosh.
Like Like
Whoa.
it was ridiculous. Like it was in like a salvage store, like a place where like the bottom of the barrel stuff like goes to just people just want to get rid of it. And that is like the reason just like Hasbro's like, we can't do this anymore. We can't just make these giant vehicles and then we just lose money on them. So and here we are. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And this is going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch with the future of HasLab is I know lots of people wanted them to branch out into the prequel era. And of course, yeah, want to see that. Want to see them do big, interesting projects that represent all of Star Wars, not just, the narrow focus of the original trilogy. But the point of HasLab is to do things that have never been done before.
Right.
That's true.
And so the things that have been successful are like Jabba's sail barge, Mos Eisley Cantina. It wasn't possible to make play sets like that during the original trilogy. You were getting like cardboard things and little like pieces of it. Like you weren't getting these like big expansive things. In the prequel era, all like you were saying, all this stuff got made. All this stuff was just available. So it's hard to think like what's an iconic thing from the prequels that if you really wanted it already, you couldn't find.
Well, they don't have the Gungan sub
Bongo.
There, okay. There's one you could do.
That's, and Lego did
or
that.
the Naboo, like any of the Naboo ships, especially the Phantom Menace Royal Starship. That would be cool.
Yeah,
they have that. They made that. They didn't make the one from episode 2. They made the one from episode 1.
But we're starting to veer into like things that are like a little bit more obscure, where it's like, well, they didn't make the ship from episode 2, but they made the one from episode 1. Like we're talking about, we need something like big and expansive and grand and like epic and iconic.
What about
I see why they went
one of the Star Destroyers, like Grievous's.
Yeah.
Would they do an invisible hand? Like, is that even possible?
Yeah, that is, and because they've not done that. If they did prequels, they would have to do Sundered Heart. But the Tantive 4 is shockingly, I don't believe it's ever been made by Hasbro.
Yeah, and so there's like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see because the most successful ones I think were like Razor Crest and Ghost, which are both like contemporary, modern, new things that didn't get made at all. So if you wanted them, it was this or nothing else.
And they were newer vehicles, so
yeah. And then you have the, like I said, Jabba's sail barge and Mos Eisley Cantina, which were classic, iconic things from the past that weren't possible to be made before. This honestly feels like another Rancor situation, because if you remember the first failed Rancor. The first failed HasLab was the Rancor, and it was a 6-inch. That one was supposedly 6-inch scale, but we were having the same conversation about that. It already existed. You could basically get a Rancor, as recently as 2009 or 2007, somewhere in there.
Yep.
So like it didn't have that same appeal. It didn't have the luster of a Ghost or a Razor Crest or a sail barge or the Mos Eisley Cantina. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But Ben, I think you hit on it earlier as well. If I want a vehicle, I want to build it. I don't want to have it come out of the box pre-made. That's just I mean,
I'm not saying like if somebody wants to buy me this, like,
well, I'm already
not
committed
say
to buying
no.
me one. You already committed to buying me one.
I don't go for verbal contracts.
It was I've also like pretty much given up on collecting Hasbro stuff lately. The price point has just gotten outrageous, and like you said, with the Lego stuff, you feel like you're having more of a tactile experience with it, of like you're building it and then you display it and all this stuff. I gave up on. I sort of my sort of moment of clarity of realization that I needed to stop with the Hasbro stuff was when I was at Toronto Comic-Con earlier this year, and I was like, oh, you know what figure I really want? Basil from the Acolyte. I've been waiting for this figure for ages. You guys know it's my favorite character from the Acolyte. And actually, if you go back and watch my interview with the Hasbro reps from last year's San Diego Comic-Con, we spent a shocking amount of time talking about that figure. Like, that interview is 15 minutes long. I swear we spend a third of it just on the Basil figure, possibly more. And then I held it in my hand and saw that it was 42 Canadian dollars. And I said, nope. I put it back on the shelf and have not bought another Black Series or anything Hasbro since then. And if I get in a Star War, it's the little Danish bricks that you click together.
Was it the 3 3/4 or the 1/6 scale, Basil?
It was 1/6 scale.
That's not that bad.
I'm not paying $42 for a figure.
Every once in a while, I will see one in the wild, and I'm a little tempted. Like I saw, like the OSHA figure is really nice. It like has all these little accessories. Like I'm like, no, don't go back. I'm trying to. I've been a year sober of Black Series figures. I have to hold myself back. And now they're releasing Ezra Bridger from Peridia, and I'm like, oh God, if I see it in Walmart, I'm gonna have to hold myself back.
Ben's 1 year 1 year sober thing. The chip is actually like the credit piece from the Hasbro figures. You're like, no, I've fallen off the wagon. Sorry, that was what I just said there about not buying any Hasbro figures was a lie. I did get Matthew to buy me the Comic-Con exclusive this year, the Revenge of the Sith Black Series duel.
Exclusives don't count.
But besides that, I've been out. They got me out. And much as I like the look of this gunship, and if somebody offered one to me or said, we'll give you for $80, I might be inclined to take it. I'm not paying $450 for it. Sorry, Hasbro. Cool idea.
Like 2 Hot Toys figures.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. It's a good design. No hate there, but the price point is no bueno for me. All right, let's move on. Get into some news. And but first, Chris, why don't we plug some things? Because we obviously have to raise the money to pay for this Black Series.
Chat. We
take free money.
To super chat us like $5 and we're good. That also goes for becoming a member. And if you become a member and super chat, then we only need like 5 people to do that. So that's pretty easy. And you can check out our Discord. Link is in the description. We got game nights. We got watch parties.
We got D&D now. Okay,
oh, wow.
we are officially in the D&D game. Tomorrow night, stop by. I am playing. Who am I playing? I'm playing Bilbo Banks. Is my character name. And it's quite fun. It was. I'm so thankful to Chad and all the guys for being very patient with me, because he would be like, "Okay, Ben, let's go. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Oh, what do I do? I've never done this before." And he's like, okay, it's like just kind of going through it and then very teaching me how to do it. It's thankfully it's very easy to pick up and play. It's very fun.
Chad says, Ben, what would you like to do? Ben goes, I'd like to solve the puzzle, please. I'd like to spin the wheel. Can I get something here?
Oh, yeah.
Or he talked me out of using my fists against a water monster, because he's like, that's not going to do anything. Just use your crossbow. Use your crossbow. It's not going to do anything.
Okay. How would the cross? You know what? We can't get into this.
I don't know either. Okay, I don't know either. Okay, I'm just going by the rules.
I think I need.
Wouldn't you need a bucket
from D&D, because the first D&D thing I did, everybody murdered each other within an hour, and then the second one, my pet duck turned into a giant monster and it killed everybody. So
that's awkward.
That sounds like a good time.
That was a little more tried out. That was over months. But yeah, that's fun. Definitely check that out. Also check out all the other shows on the Star Wars Underworld Network: the Raeside, Iron Cannon, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, Tractor Beam, and more.
All right, let's get into things. Let's get into the news. We'll start with the big news about Star Wars Starfighter, the next live action Star Wars movie, expected to begin filming later this year, directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Gosling, Mia Goth, and Matt Smith. That's right, Matt Smith. Deadline reported this, that Matt Smith has been cast in the movie. He will be playing a villain, apparently. Matt Smith, of course, the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who. Which Targaryen is he in? What's his target? Which one is he? Aegon? Damon? Damon,
yeah.
Damon Targaryen. Great performance. Matt Smith in Star Wars, in Starfighter. Ben, what do you think?
About time. Obviously, for those who've been following the casting rumors for a very long time, knows that he was rumored for the Rise of Skywalker not that long ago. And I don't know how true it is, but everyone's been making a joke about the fact that it was rumored and thought about that he may have been playing a young clone of Palpatine, which I still
I remember that.
And he basically, he didn't confirm that. He basically said that, like, yes, I had discussions with the people, and they just something never actually materialized. So, he's been in the room before, and I'm glad he's finally getting his hand at playing a Star Wars villain that's not Sheev Palpatine or a clone of Sheev Palpatine, just a new villainous character
that we know of, Ben. That we know of. The first opening scene of Starfighter could be Ryan Gosling and Mia Goth.
I swear to God, if the first word in that stupid crawl is the dead speak again, I'm leaving the theater. Okay, I'm not staying.
The dead speak again.
And then,
hell no.
Camera just pans down. Ryan Gosling, Mia Goth just standing there, and Mia Goth just looks at Ryan Gosling. Hey, somehow Palpatine returned. And Gosling goes, "Yep, here we go again."
Oh, good lord!
It's
getting a wonderfully convoluted backstory. Chris, what do you think of this one of Matt Smith being cast in Star Wars?
Speaking of Hasbro, I've gotten my hands on a Gallifrey 1 exclusive first Matt Smith from Star Wars Starfighter action figure.
Whee!
Right. It cost me 43 Canadian dollars, but it was worth it.
That is a nice figure of the 11th Doctor. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's like a 1/5 scale, so he like towers over my Black Series figures. Like he would be like 7 or 8 feet in their feet, or 2 point something meters, whatever the meters for feet is. Yeah. But yeah, no, this is awesome. I feel this feels like very like latent and delayed, because I feel like the Matt Smith fervor happened like a long time ago. Like Matt Smith from like 20, maybe like it was last decade, like 2010 to 2020. Matt Smith was like one of the biggest household names, going from Doctor Who to American cinema, and now it's 2025, and it's like, it's cool, it's awesome, but also like I feel like this would have made a bigger impact if it was like 5 or 10 years ago, at least as far as marketing is concerned. But obviously, like, we don't expect Matt Smith to just stop his career because he's so many years removed from Doctor Who, and now going into like Doctor Who now that it's like less of a popular thing. So it's great for him. He's a great actor, of course, and it's really exciting. And my reaction to this was not just a reaction about Matt Smith. It was a reaction just about the entire cast now with Mia Goth and Ryan Gosling. I feel like this is the first Star Wars movie that is being sold by the cast and not something else, like the characters or the situations or the director or the writer. Like, it's the cast that is really the most exciting thing about this movie. That the 3 leads that have been announced so far are all just like top of their industry, the best person you possibly could imagine. There's nobody that can give a better performance than the 3 people that I've mentioned, and Matt Smith included. So yeah, it's very interesting to go into a Star Wars movie where, you know, a lot of times they try to cast unknown people so that you don't see the actor, you see the character. It's very interesting going in just with 3 actors being incredibly visible. It's so interesting.
Yeah, and we are kind of, I think, in the midst of a Matt Smith renaissance of the last few years, with him being a House of the Dragon and stuff as well. Like he's shown his range beyond just the lovable goof that was the 11th Doctor. And so you can kind of imagine him in almost any role in this movie. Like they're saying he's a villain, and so you think
he's
about
not
maybe
the villain, he's a villain.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
I'm talking to people who write articles.
Yeah. He's playing one of the villain roles is specifically what Deadline says about it. So you can think a little. Your the instinct is to think about him as Daemon Targaryen, the way he plays him in House of the Dragon, which is very villainous. But it might be kind of fun to have him be kind of almost a friendlier, goofier villain that's a little bit more of the 11th Doctor, but just with the Daemon edge. It could be a lot of fun. I
think that's what exciting about Matt Smith is the fact that you really don't know what you're going to get. Like, he can do anything. Like, it could be anything. It could be a completely different side of him that we haven't seen. Like, look at the advertisements for that new movie he's in. Was it Caught Stealing with Austin Butler? He's got a mohawk.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's some drug dealer. Dude. Like, it's so crazy.
I gotta remember to watch that. I gotta write that down. I forgot the name of that. Caught Stealing. I'm gonna watch that. That looks good. That looks really good.
Yeah. Maybe he'll go right from filming that to filming Starfighter, and he'll just have to keep the mohawk.
Well, I think he's going to be an alien because he's played aliens in action movies before, and also with him being just so recognizable, I think that he's not going to look like himself very much in this movie.
I just had a thought, and I really hope it's not true, but it does almost feel like the most like quintessential droid casting of like, we need a funny British guy to be a droid.
No,
it's got that energy to it, but I feel like if that were the case, that would have been part of this report.
He could
I feel
be
like if it was a
cyborg.
mocap thing, yeah.
He could be like, if he's like half machine, I can see that. I can definitely
General
see that,
Grievous's long lost cousin.
Yeah, like a Grievous like character, like a Borg like looking thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Be good.
Yeah.
Be good.
But it opens up all possibilities. There's some rumors about who specifically he might be playing. I don't want to get into it just in case spoilers. Anybody wants to avoid that. But like
Palpatine again. We already know.
Yeah, of course.
We already went over that.
Oopsie. Didn't mean to say that. But like, it just like opens up like even the rumor is just like okay, what is that? And is that, how does that figure into this? Because like we don't know anything about this era. We don't know what's going on, what kind of factions this could be. Is he force sensitive? Is he not? Either way, like who is things? We don't know anything about this movie. And that's really exciting. It's really exciting to kind of go in this, go like, okay, this is new. Like Mia Goth and Matt Smith are teaming up to hunt down Ryan Gosling and his nephew or something. I don't know. And we'd have no idea other than that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting, Ben. You just said like, we don't know anything about this era because this is the first movie set post sequel trilogy, post episode 9, and it goes back to like how just times change you over the years. And back in the day, you might have been excited about a HasLab gunship from Attack of the Clones. I remember like in the lead up to Force Awakens, just being so excited and so interested in like what the era was going to be like. And we'd see these little like glimpses of the set and you'd really wonder. It was really exciting. It's like, is that an AT-AT foot that she's living in? And like all of this stuff. I feel like it's going to be really annoying this time around trying to figure out this era because the way the last one ended was a bit messy. I'll put it that way. It was a bit messy. And to try and make sense of where it goes next, where the galaxy goes next, where the story goes next, I feel like, I don't know, for some reason I'm like preemptively irritated with trying to figure that out. And I'm like, that's going to be the most annoying part of the wait between now and Starfighter is like wondering how much of the galaxy we're going to see, how much of the political situation that we're going to see. Are we going to see any familiar characters pop up? Like all of that stuff. Where in the past it was really, really fun because you were coming off of the original trilogy and everything did feel so open. This time I'm like, if Daisy John or Oscar is in this movie, just please tell me. Just somebody tell me. Put it on StarWars.com. Give me a picture at a convention, something like that, so we can see. See a little bit.
Let's hope that maybe they'll shoot in Glasgow. like Spider-Man's doing right now. That way we'll get a ton of amazing set photos and videos. We'll know exactly what's going on in the movie because apparently there's no secrecy in Ireland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotland, Ben. You're gonna get a whole 2 different countries.
I know. They're already typing. They're already typing.
I'd be mad at that one.
Oh dear.
Just not gonna do an accent. Just not gonna do an accent.
Don't.
I love Dublin, Scotland. It's a beautiful city.
Belfast is my favorite of the
Belfast
Scottish,
and the Republic of Ireland.
It's my favorite of the Scottish boroughs. God save the king. Anyways.
Oh,
pissing everyone out today.
Anywho, let's move on. There'll be lots more time to discuss Matt Smith and Starfighter and all of that in the year and a bit to come between now and it hitting theaters. Something else that will happen just before Starfighter hits theaters. Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope will be back in theaters starting April 30th. 2027. Genuinely, I thought this was a mistake when this was published. I'm like 2020. I was like, oh, cool. They're announcing that Star Wars is going to be in theaters again next year, but that's not the 50th anniversary. That's wrong. And then I thought, wait, is the 50th anniversary next year? No, this is 2025. That's 2027. Why are we announcing this? I calculated this before and I forgot. It's 16 months out. 16 months out from this. It's bizarre. I'm excited. I'll be there. You'll find me April 30th at a local movie theater. But I don't understand the urgency with which this was announced. I don't understand.
Maybe they're getting the easy stuff out of the way because they're also keep promising a big celebration in 2027 of the 50th anniversary, which I would expect nothing less. But I'm like, okay, they're getting this out of the way. What else do they have planned? Like, I know they always go all out for May the 4th. This will be May the 4th weekend in 2027. That's great. That's great. Like, I've never actually seen A New Hope in a proper movie theater. So like I'm very excited about this, but also just like, wow, okay, they're planning big time.
Yeah, there's going to be like a 2-month window there from the beginning of April to the end of May. That's just going to be like Star Wars on overdrive because Celebration starts April 1st. No joke. So you get Celebration April's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Awesome. Then you get A New Hope in theaters starting April 30th for about a week. And then you get Starfighter in theaters at the end of the month. Is it on the 27th? Something like that? 25th, 27th, somewhere in there. Like that 2-month span. I mean, forget doing anything else. There's just going to be Star Wars. That's all there is.
They're going to be sick of it. Even us are going to be sick of it by the end.
We'll be like, go back to the weeks where there was only 2 stories to talk about. Dang it. It's going to be fun. My one like conspiracy theory about why they announced this so far out is I've been following the box office trends. I don't know why they really shouldn't be, but because I have no expertise in this, but I've been following the conversation around the box office trends with Superman and Fantastic Four and Jurassic, what's it called? And how they all came out really, really close together. And there's some concern that maybe that hurt the movies. I'm wondering if this is just like a little play from Disney of going like, no, this weekend's ours. This month is ours. Don't you dare try and undercut Star Wars. And because if you're going to try it, you're going to have to come like really close to it. And if you release your movie 1 week before Star Wars,
because
you're not going to have a good second week.
Marvel blinked. They had Doomsday and they're like, nope. Or I think it was Secret Wars at that point.
Did they blink?
They pushed them.
Did they blink, Ben, or did they just realize, shoot, we haven't finished the script yet?
Yeah, I think that was also a factor of just like, oh crap, we don't have enough time. Like we can't like slave drive our CGI people into making this movie in time for the ridiculous date things. And then but they're doing it all over again. They're shooting Brand New Day Spider-Man right now, and it's going to be out in less than a year. Like it's insane.
Yeah, isn't Mando Grogu done? Like, isn't it like
it's,
pretty much?
It's,
didn't
like,
Favreau say like it's
so
pretty much
smooth?
locked?
Like they've had so much time. They just like locked. It's probably locked picture now. Like they're not doing anything. It's just in a vault somewhere waiting to release.
Favreau's just doing like private screenings every Sunday. Just invites like 3 people over and shows it at his house. Like, hey, how about this? What do you think? It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cool to have A New Hope back in theaters on the 30th of April 2027. The one other interesting question about this is, they're calling it A New Hope, but as we recall, earlier this year, the British Film Institute showed a screening of a Technicolor print that they found of the theatrical cut of Star Wars that existed in their vault since 1978. And they screened it, and it was officially sanctioned by Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy showed up to introduce the screening. Are we going to see in theaters the current version that exists on Disney Plus, Blu-ray, etc., the 1978 print or a copy of it? Or you're going to be able to choose. So they're going to be like, you get the option of going to the theatrical version and the current version. Will the theatrical version only play in certain cities? Will it be anything like? Could it be anything like that, or is it just going to be sort of your standard re-release that we've gotten in the last few years, where it's just you go to the theater, they put on the Blu-ray and say, "There you go."
That's an interesting question. I mean, I want to know when are we going to get 3D A New Hope? That's what I want to know. This was the question. This was the thing that irked me just a little bit about the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith re-releases from the last 2 years. It's like, we know those exist. The 3D versions of them exist. Give me the option. I'll go see it in 3D. Absolutely. Yeah, that's strange. That's strange that they did it, and that's one of the reasons that I didn't.
They did a whole new thing for Revenge of the Sith, where they put it in the 4DX with the shaking seats. And I went and saw it that way, and it was awesome. Yeah, but they didn't need to do that. They could have, charged you the higher ticket price and just thrown it on in 3D, which already is done. Yeah, that's bizarre to me that they didn't do that when it exists but hasn't been released. Same with the Attack of the Clones. Yeah, Phantom Menace was released in 3D, over a decade ago, and then last year they're just like, here's the regular 2D version. Yeah, that's so confusing. So, and they're not bad. They're not bad. Like, no, the Revenge of the Sith one is especially good. Yeah. The Phantom Menace one, I remember being a little bit underwhelmed by it. But the three of us went and saw the Revenge of the Sith one at Celebration 10 years ago. Yeah. And it was great. It was fantastic. Attack of the Clones is the one that I haven't seen in 3D. We saw some clips of it, I think, at a Celebration somewhere along the way.
They completely passed over to episode 2 for its anniversary. Well, I mean, they forgot about its
anniversary. It could argue for a 25th anniversary re-release in 2027 as well. Yeah, it could get one if they want to just keep taking up weekends from other studios in some point in those 2 months of Star Wars. They're just there
to take May back,
Attack of the Clones,
yeah. But in a perfect world, I would love it if it's like A New Hope in theaters, and this is the biggest deal of all of the things. I could see them maybe doing okay, we're going to do original version, we're going to do special edition, modern version, and we're going to do 3D. That'd be great. Like 3 different versions. I just don't see it happening. I think the most logical, the most simplest option is just put the current version in theaters. I know tons of people want to see the original version. I would love to see the original version in a theater, but most people are not even cognizant of that debate or the whole things. They know the special editions, they know the movies were changed, but they don't know what was changed. And most people just grown up watching it. Most kids today are going to be like, "Mommy, where's the giant Ronto walking in front of the screen?" In Mos Eisley. That's what they're going to be asking. The questions that they're going to be asking when watching the original version of the movie. More people are going to walk out of the theater confused than they are happy, and Disney doesn't want that.
That's a good point.
if there is anything sort of new added on to A New Hope, I think it'll be the 4DX again, seeing as they did that once already with
great.
that. Then you could certainly do some fun stuff with A New Hope with the Death Star battle and stuff. There's good to be had there. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Let's just speculate wildly for a little bit, because Ben, as you mentioned, they've said there's big plans for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Just blue sky it, whatever you'd like to see. What's something, if they came to you and said, we're doing the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, we want to do something for the fans, what would you like us to do? What would be, if the only thing we'll sort of take off the board is it can't be a new movie because they're already doing that.
HasLab 6-inch scale Death Star. Go.
I thought it was going to be the Ronto from the special editions.
That too.
HasLab, huh?
Yeah.
Ben's like, I want to open up my wallet.
Imagine how big that was. 6-inch scale. Imagine how big that Death Star would be.
Wouldn't that just replace your house?
Bigger than my house, yes.
It also comes with somebody from the city showing up with a crane, picking up your house, taking it away, and then placing the Death Star instead. And it's like you get to live in it.
But it would get funded, though. You know, it'd get funded. Somebody would just, yeah.
The Death Star has to be on the short list for a HasLab of some kind. There's got to be a way to do it. They just haven't figured it out. Okay. Ben's dream 50th anniversary project is the 6-inch scale HasLab Death Star. Chris, what would yours be?
Okay, I've expressed this maybe a couple times when we've been looking at like celebration dates and how they've coincided with filming dates of various Star Wars projects and the locations. I think what they should do is they should film a scene for a Star Wars show or movie at a celebration.
Yes.
And then everybody who's there can say that they're in Star Wars.
It can just be a crowd scene. It could just be like you could just pile everybody in and say, all right, everybody, when we count down from 3, everybody turn your head to the left. And then in the movie, a ship will fly by and it'll all be able to turn our heads to the left. And
there's so many crowds in Star Wars, you know. I think about the festival that happened in what movie was that? That was Last Jedi.
Episode 9 in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was in Rise.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, which one was that in? Yes, you're right. It was Rise. And Rise of Skywalker, there was that big festival when they had so many extras for that. And I always think back to like how like half the population of New Zealand is in the Lord of the Rings movies and like things like that. I'm like, hey, there's so many. You already have so many people in costume already at Star Wars Celebration that you could make it work. You could just pick something, whatever era it's in. If you're already in the era, you can just use your own costume. And if not, they just give you something to throw on and put you a little bit further back, you know?
That was going to be my question: is how do we handle costuming? Because everybody just shows up in a Star Wars shirt.
Yeah, no, it depends on when it is. But it's like if they can outfit like again half the population of New Zealand for those battle scenes, or all those people in that festival in Rise of Skywalker, they can easily come up with the outfits for anybody that isn't already in that era at Celebration. Or you know what they can do too. This actually they can outsource this. What they could do is they could say, all right, this is the standard. You've got to look like this. Come to Celebration in cosplay. If you're in this type of cosplay, you can be in the movie too.
You could just give everybody a cloak.
Yeah.
Just put on a cloak.
It'd be so easy.
Over. Yeah. Be good. Yeah. And like you're far enough, the camera will be far enough away. You're not going to be able to go, that guy's wearing a Death Star shirt.
and like you literally have like, J.J. Abrams, whoever is directing the thing, have the megaphone, be like, all right, everybody. And like you could say you were directed by someone like that to do something. Like it would be an incredible experience. I feel like they should do that.
There was a report this week, and we can get to this in a minute. But there was a report this week that the next Star Wars movie will be Taika Waititi's movie.
I can imagine it.
And if there's any director crazy enough to want to do this,
yes, it is.
It's absolutely Taika.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Taika. You could absolutely see him just give him the megaphone, give him a real high chair to sit in, or somewhere real high up to look down from, and he'd have everybody laughing too. Like he'd have everybody laughing. Like it would be a fun time. Oh, that's such a good idea. And even if you can't do everybody in one shot, you do like a quarter of the people on the first day, a quarter of the people on the second day, a quarter of the people on the third day, a quarter of the people on the fourth day, and just roll.
Yeah. They have to do this. This is literally the maximum thing. Like you could not imagine something better.
Best idea. Yeah.
Best idea.
There we go. There you go. Kathy, Taika, take it. Do it. Come on.
Right. Free idea.
Maloney, one of you. Do this. Whoever's
Imagine
next.
how many tickets you would sell, because like there's like 100,000 people at Celebration Los Angeles and they're all in it. They're gonna get 10 of their friends each to go see it. Tickets they're gonna be sold because they got to see the scene that their friend and family member is in. I mean, $1 million tickets is
I'm in that movie.
I'm
in it.
How many people are going to get kicked out of the theater during that movie's run for pointing at the screen going, that's
me. I'm right there in the corner.
It's like I love the story that Mark Hamill tells about like him and Carrie Fisher going to the theater and like begging the person at the ticket counter to be like, hey, we're in this movie, Star Wars, we're in that movie, can you just let us go in? We just want to see the teaser or whatever else for the movie. And I can imagine like people like, shouldn't I get a discount? I'm in this Star Wars movie.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, movie theaters will hate us, but that's a great idea. All right, we've got ideas, big ideas for Celebration and the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. I like it. You can pick up your HasLab Death Star on the way to the theater to go watch yourself in the movie.
I think you can watch the movie in your HasLab Death Star.
HasLab Death Star. It'll be a VR headset at this point.
Yes.
Just sit in there. Yeah.
It's like the thing that comes down over Vader's head.
Yeah.
Right.
Jesse in the chat says I'm making an IMDb page highlighting the 0.3 seconds I was on screen.
Yeah,
That movie will have the longest IMDb in the history. It'll just be all of us making ourselves our own pages. So yeah, no, I'm in there. Extra number 473. That's me. I'm 40,000. I'm 40,007. Yeah.
20,742.
Oh, incredible. I love it. All right. All right. We'll move on. We'll move on from that, but we'll see everybody in theaters April 30th, 2027, and then again in May, and then again the following year to watch ourselves. It'll be great. So I just mentioned this. This is kind of interesting. There was a report this week from Nexus Point News that the working titles for the next two Star Wars movies have been revealed. One of those being, of course, Starfighter. The other one being apparently Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. So to be fair to Nexus Point News, they don't say Taika's movie is next, but it does have a working title, which tends to mean it's further along in development than some of the other ones. The working titles, the working titles are mainly there just to be a little bit a very thin cover story for the fact that they're ordering cameras and equipment to build sets and all that stuff.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, but everybody knows that it is. I'll tell you this story. For a very brief period, I worked for a company that sold film equipment, like for movies and stuff, and they shoot a lot of the Star Trek shows in Toronto. And somebody came in and they're like, and they were picking up some bit of gear and they were charging it to like the company account, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's for Green Harvest." And at first I was like, do I have a scoop? Right. I figure out, are they shooting the next Star Wars movie here? Are we shooting it there? Are we gonna get it? And like my colleague who was handling it went, "Oh, Green Harvest," like he knew what it was. And the guy who was buying stuff goes, yeah, it's fun, everybody likes Star Trek. And I was like, But everybody knew that that's what it was that it was being worked on, but they just had to go with the cover story.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Starfighter has the working title of Kyber Mist, and the production company, the sort of shell company they set up to do all this through, is called Blue Mist Productions. And then for Taika's movie, it's Cosmic Doom is the working title, and
Nice.
Ghost Truck 6 is the production company.
Oh, nice. Well,
So some interesting stuff there. It does suggest, I think, that Taika's movie is probably next up. You know, we for the longest time we were operating under the assumption that the Rey movie would be next. Then they said no, Mando Grogu. We said okay, Rey after that. They said no, Starfighter after that. And we said okay, so Rey after that. And now it seems like we're at some point soon we're going to get an announcement that says no, Taika after that.
And actually, it actually would be fair if you think about it, because they had the big announcement with Mangold and Sharmina Bay-Chinoy and Dave Filoni, like, oh, these are the 3 movies that are coming next. These are the things movies. And then they came out with the Mandalorian Grogu, and now we're getting Starfighter. But Taika's movie was announced well before all those movies. Like it's been on the back burner all this time. So I think if anyone deserves to be pushed to the front burner and actually come out first, it's Taika. So
May 4th, 2020 is when they announced that.
Oh my gosh.
A long time ago. Almost 5 years. Oh no, more than 5 years ago now at this point.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Yeah, and you'll notice like we didn't hear anything about the Taika movie for a really long time. Like we heard about it a little bit in the year or two after the announcement, where it seemed like it might actually be next up. And then they announced, like you said, Ben, they announced those 3 at Celebration London 2 years ago. And then we didn't hear any. And we stopped hearing about Taika's movie at all. And then in the last couple of months, all of a sudden, if you notice when Kathleen Kennedy talks about what Star Wars movies are in development, she always mentions Taika's movie. She mentioned it at Celebration Japan. She mentioned it in that interview, I think it was Deadline, when the rumor came out that she was going to quit in a couple of weeks or something. And so she suddenly started mentioning it again. And it's like, oh, it just sort of seems like it's front of mind again. And I suspect it probably means they're, pretty happy with the development now. Maybe Taika's, he doesn't seem to have any other projects that are super imminent. Maybe he's locked himself in a room with Tony McNamara, who's the latest writer on the movie, and they're finishing up this script so that once Starfighter is finished shooting, they can begin pre-production and be ready to start shooting same time next year. Would be good. Would be fun.
That'd
be
awesome. Exciting.
All right. Let's see what else have we got here. Well, I'll go from one New Zealander to another. From Taika Waititi to Tamura Morrison. Tamura Morrison, he's always out on the convention circuit, and people are always asking him, when is he back as Boba Fett or Jango Fett, either or. And lately, it seems like it's not anytime soon. He was at Tampa Bay Comic-Con, and he said to the audience there that they needed to petition Lucasfilm to get him or Daniel Logan back into the Star Wars movies.
Oh,
I wonder. I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here for a second. I bet he's already locked in to come back in something, and he's just having fun with us.
What?
I think he's.
He told them to send faxes, though. He's getting desperate. He send Lucasfilm a fax. I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, that's a bit of a smokescreen to say that. I feel like when they say no, I'm not in anything, they mean they are. But to say,
yeah, but Tem is smart. He's playing 7D chess with everybody because.
See, we need Hannah here to get inside his brain because she has.
Hold on. Wait,
she knows all about him.
Wait. I have a question though. If he is in another Star Wars project and he's collecting a check from that, why is he at Tampa Bay Comic-Con and not at the spa? Because he goes to the spa.
The Mandalorian spa.
Yeah, but if he's at Tampa Bay Comic-Con, that means he's doing that for work. So,
Yeah. That is you've poked a massive hole in my conspiracy theory there. And I go take down all the red
Hannah
string.
Will definitely know. I don't know how good Hannah is at poker, but when she's on next, we'll have to look at her face very carefully when we talk about this topic.
We figure out what's going on with Tem. I hope he'll be in the Filoni movie at the very least. I'm sure he pops up in that. And if there's a Mando Grogu sequel, which wouldn't shock me, if Mando Grogu does well, then maybe you do the Boba Fett reunion, the Din Djarin Boba Fett reunion in that, and you do, we had a little golden age from 2020 to 2022 of Din Djarin and Boba Fett on adventures together, and they seem to make a pretty good team. Maybe it's time to get the band back together.
To me, Mandalorian Grogu strikes me as, from very little footage that I've seen, strikes me as both in the fact that that's the first movie back since Rise of Skywalker, and also just things that it's going to be a safe pick. It's going to be a safe, because Brendan Wayne's been out there talking about it's going back to season 1. I think kind of trying to get people's attention to be like, in so many words, it's not like season 3, guys. It's not like season 3. For those of you who didn't like season 3, this is not going to getting back to basics here. But I think the general idea is just have a fun, cool story about Mando and Grogu on adventure. I think if the movie does well, which I think it will, if it makes $1 billion, you could damn well bet there's going to be a sequel. I don't think it's going to make that by any means. I think it will more than make its budget back. I think it will be very successful. And I think if that's the case, I think they will want to continue that story in a movie. And I think a second movie would be the one where you're like, okay, we're confident now. Mando is a full-fledged screen icon, and so is Grogu. So now let's throw everything but the kitchen sink at the thing. Let's get Boba Fett in here. Let's get all these characters back. Because I'm not even expecting Bo-Katan to show up. I'm not expecting Mandalorians or anything to show up. I think it's going to be strictly them. But I think Mando and Grogu 2, The Mandalorian and Grogu and Boba Fett. Anyone?
That would be so much fun if they did that. To just say, you know what, we're gonna have Boba Fett in here. Just bring them all in, make it sort of chaotic, crazy, fun action. That was the reaction I had to the trailer that they showed at Celebration. Was it does feel very season 1 in that the trailer begins with a one take action sequence, which I felt sort of harkened back to Din Djarin rescuing Grogu in episode 3. So it feels like it's going back to that tone, and it'll be sort of fun. And Boba is a fun character. He would fit right in with that. When do you think we'll get a trailer for Mando Grogu? Because I'm starting we're less than a year out. We're starting to, they didn't do anything with the big summer movies this year, but is there's I'm trying to look ahead at what's coming up in the fall, Tron, maybe.
Yeah, historically we would have had it right around now. I think back to I think the first Force Awakens trailer was 13 months before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it would be sort of most movies they do 8 months out, but Force Awakens, because it was special.
So I guess we should really be looking for it in September. I guess that's the case.
I say they'll probably drop it tomorrow, probably, because they're just a troll. It's just a troll us because we're talking about it now. We can't podcast for another week. They'll drop it on a Friday just to troll us.
Yeah, I'm looking at looking ahead at what's coming out. Tron Ares, October 10th. It's a Disney movie. It's a big action movie.
Yeah,
that feels like maybe you drop the trailer on online a week or two beforehand, and then it's there with
Well,
that
you know what?
movie.
The other thing too is they tend to like doing it during Monday Night Football. And there'll be Monday Night Football starting up pretty soon as well, in September. So
there you go.
They want to have a gimmick, an event to attach it to, something on ABC, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My one like tiny fear, it's not even really a fear, is overstating it, but once there's like a little voice in the back of my head that I'm trying to ignore that's saying to me, they only started promoting the show, a month or two before it would air.
No. It's a movie. No,
and
no, it's a movie.
Exactly. It's a movie. You can't treat it the same as the show. It's gotta be given the oomph, the push that you gave to Rogue One and The Force Awakens.
I mean, there's gotta be like a Super Bowl trailer. That might not be the first trailer. I don't think they should wait that long, but there's gonna be a Super Bowl trailer for sure.
I mean, that's again, like that gets into the maybe they wait, because then you're like 3 months out.
Oh,
that is what they did with Solo. Now,
well, we know how that turned out.
That is what they did with Solo, but I can see them going, well, it didn't work that time, but it'll work this time because Grogu was an established blah blah blah. So was Chewbacca.
No, they got to start promoting it.
Tron. I'm locking in my guess is right around that movie, sometime in and around there is when I think
they need to have something Star Wars, because we have this big gap with Star Wars content as well. Waiting for Ahsoka season 2 or whatever the heck.
Yeah, that's the next live action show.
So there's a huge gap there.
Maybe you do Maul. Maybe you do Maul in January, because that's when they did like Bad Batch and stuff. Like maybe they see that as a sort of animation's place on the calendar.
But the rest of the year.
But in terms of live action, there's nothing else until Ahsoka, which is probably in the fall. Next year. Like not this fall coming up. Next
year. There's
year.
Nothing to conflict with the promotion. There's nothing else to promote. So might as well get started on that now.
Yeah, get people excited. Like there's going to be a new Star Wars movie. People should be excited about that. It's going to be Mandalorian and Grogu. People should be excited about that. Like, maybe we've reached a point of like too much saturation with the Baby Yoda stuff, and maybe season 3 wasn't everybody's cup of tea. It's gone away. Like it's been, Baby Yoda hasn't been everywhere. We haven't been thinking about Mandalorian a lot lately. Really since season 3 ended. Like a kick-ass, like amazing trailer could put all that stuff front and center again and make everybody really be excited about it once more.
Yeah. Because I think they did a good job of letting Andor settle.
Yeah.
And like kept promoting it and kept putting the cast out there, kept doing stuff. And I think even now you'll see like them, talk about Andor. People are still talking about Andor. They're gonna be talking about Andor till the end of time. But like, I think they're letting that settle a little bit, giving a little bit of a gap. I genuinely like it could be any day now.
And when the first trailer does drop, I want it to be like I want it to be tonally like that first Andor trailer. I want it to walk out like with its head high. Here is this friggin' amazing, cool thing that you love. It's back and better than ever. I don't want to hide behind nostalgia. The Skeleton Crew marketing was really, really good, but so much of it was like, hey, remember when you were a kid and happy? And don't give me that. Give me the Andor. You can set it to another rock and roll song. Like do whatever you have to do. Like give me that trailer where it's just like, no, this show, it's the sequel to the best. This season is the sequel to the best season of Star Wars television previously. It's going to be even better. And it's going to be relevant to the moment. I want Mando doesn't have to say those same things, but I want it to have that same level of swagger when it comes back around. And I hope they do that. I hope it's not. I swear to God, if it opens with some sort of montage of previous Star Wars movies, then they've lost the plot. No. Start us off with just like Din Djarin making a sweet entrance with Grogu by his side, and then 90 seconds of chaos and awesome. Bring it on. Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be fantastic.
Yes.
All right. What else we got here? Some interesting book news we can sort of cover quickly. Ben, is there a new William Shakespeare Star Wars book coming out? Am I?
Nice.
Apparently so. This wasn't. If this was officially announced anywhere on StarWars.com or otherwise, I didn't catch it. All I know is randomly in my feed, I see people talking about William Shakespeare's The Mandalorian is coming, and just out of nowhere.
I will say, the title, it needs some work. They need to try again with this, because I saw it and my stupid childish brain saw it and went, William Shakespeare's The Mandalorian anus. And it can't be that. It can't be that. We got to come up with something else. Come up with something better. I do love that they're doing more of these. The Shakespeare Star Wars books are a lot of fun. I would hope that it would be The Mandalorian and Grogu and not like a rehash of season 1, but I suspect it's probably a season 1 rehash.
From the previews, it looks like season 1.
Yeah. So that's fine. That's fun. But this is cool. I do like that they're bringing this back, and it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. Also in Mandalorian book news, finally, there's a visual guide. Be a visual guide. It's actually happening this time, unless they have to fire another actor and settle with them out of court. We'll see how that goes. But that'll be cool. Pablo Hidalgo's written it. Do we have a release date for the visual guide, Ben?
That's a very good question.
April there you of go. This year. So, or April of next year. We'll just ahead of the movie. It'll cover all 3 seasons. Should be pretty good. Also in book news, if you're interested in the future of the Reign of the Empire trilogy, which you should be, because the first book, The Mask of Fear, is one of the best Star Wars books of recent memory. Very, very, very good. Book 2 is good. We now know has the title The Edge of the Abyss. It's written by Rebecca Roanhorse. It's set a year before season 1 of Andor. And then the third book in the trilogy, completing the trilogy, called From the Ashes by Fran Wild. Edge of the Abyss comes out in fall 2026, and From the Ashes comes out summer 2027. So good things are afoot. All right. Shall we quickly do 1 to 2 questions of Ask the SWU?
Yes.
We shall.
Okay. Ben, I'm going to let you pick. I'm going to let you pick, and I'm going to let you read.
Okay.
Because I didn't have time. I didn't have time to screen these, but I know you did. So
okay.
I'll let you pick.
Boy, oh boy. Well, I have to do at least one Joel. Okay. He sends us a fresh one every single week. We're never not going to have a Joel question. So we'll start with Joel, and then I'll see who gets the next one. But Joel writes, and this is a brand new Joel. This is a fresh off the block Joel Davis question. He says, "Hey Underworld, with the latest buzz going around that Taika Waititi's film of all things may actually be the next on the docket to begin production in 2026, barring something bizarre or weird happening. You never know. I find it funny that in a lot of ways the Star Wars anthology idea hasn't really died. Granted, I would argue that the Star Wars anthology concept never really truly died with Solo. We just sort of evolved into streaming shows, which, let's face it, many of them, except for a few, could have easily been films. Now that we've returned to films, Lucasfilm seems to be focusing mostly on standalone features. The only real exception of deeper interconnectivity are The Mandalorian and Grogu, along with Filoni's upcoming film. But even then, it seems like Mando's movie may be more standalone than we realize. Compare this to the approach to Marvel, where every film eventually leads to something big crossover event. In contrast, Star Wars, at least on the film side, seems to be releasing films with very little connective tissue outside of simply existing within the Star Wars galaxy. What are your thoughts on the fact that the quote-unquote Star Wars anthology concept, as promoted in 2016, hasn't really died at all? If anything, it's just been rebranded in different forms for marketing reasons. Anyway, love the podcast. Joel.
Yeah. So for anybody that's unaware, back in 2015 at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, they announced that all of the standalone Star Wars movies were going to exist under the banner of Star Wars anthology films. So Rogue One wasn't originally Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It was Star Wars anthology : Rogue One. And then Josh Trank's movie would have fallen under that. and all subsequent movies would have fallen under that. Of course, Trank's movie doesn't happen, and within a year they've ditched the anthology thing. I think they ditched the anthology thing within the year, because I'm pretty sure by the time we were at D23 a couple of months later, they were already using the Star Wars story thing. But yeah, it's very clear that there's one main story, which right now is kind of the New Republic story, and then everything else is its own thing. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor are related in that they're both in the same era, but none of them really have anything to do with the Acolyte, which has nothing really to do with the Bad Batch or any of the other animated stuff that's going on. Like it's its own thing. And so yeah, I think whereas the Mando verse shows, that kind of takes the place of the saga in this current time, and then and the other stuff is the anthology stuff that fills in the gaps or comes out in the time in between. And I think that seems to be at least what they're doing to come back. There may be a plan kind of down the line to do a more of a saga, because Kinberg is working on that trilogy. And if it is 10, 11, 12, then that has implications for Starfighter and the Rey movie, which, could, make these quote unquote anthologies feel a little bit more connected. But that does seem to be, it wouldn't shock me if the plan is to go back to what they did from 2015 to 2019 and go saga movie standalone, saga movie standalone, saga movie standalone forever and ever at this point.
Yeah. It's one thing that I remember very clearly is them saying they wanted to kind of have the same release system as Marvel was using in the MCU. And they have like their Avengers movies, which is like their version of their saga, but then they have all their anthology movies too. And I think the big difference between the Star Wars cinematic universe and the Marvel cinematic universe is that Marvel was able to put out a lot of successful sequels to their anthology films. Like, Captain America has a few that were very, very successful. Iron Man, there's multiple ones. And so Guardians of the Galaxy. And so I think that where Star Wars kind of just hasn't fully lived up to that potential is having an anthology film that then gets its own sequel. I think the closest thing we've gotten is having the small screen sequel of Andor, which is really a prequel to one. I think that's the closest thing that we've gotten to that. But I think clearly they were expecting to do a Solo 2. Clearly with the way that movie ended, but it just never happened because again of the issues with the sales. So I think what I'm interested to see mainly is, like you said, will we ever get to a point where you have an anthology that actually has sequels to itself, like that trilogy that you mentioned? Because I think that's the only thing we're missing, because we've got the saga, those are sequential, and then we've got all these standalone movies. When are we going to get standalones that then are based on each other and in their own duology, trilogy, etc. groups?
Yeah, and like you said, very clearly that was the plan with Solo, that they were working on a movie that was basically the Mos Eisley Cantina movie was going to be one of the follow-ups. And it didn't happen. Han and Chewie would have been in that, but it wouldn't necessarily have been Solo 2. Obviously, I think it was pretty clear they were working on a Lando movie, and they would have had to have followed up on the Maul and Kira stuff that ultimately has just sort of been left dangling there for all the time since then. And yeah, that's one of the great missed opportunities, I think, of Star Wars, is because everything with Solo was so mishandled, from not hiring the right people or not sticking with your guys with Lord and Miller, to not then moving the release date to give it a better shot at the box office, to having picked that release date in the first place. And all that stuff. Just they shot themselves in the foot, and now we missed out on a whole bunch of fun stuff.
It is fascinating how their plans have changed and how the industry has changed. Like, the industry has changed so much since 2012, since they originally pitched that idea of, well, let's do a big Star Wars movie every other year. Let's do a smaller standalone movie in the intervening years. Let's do that forever. Like, let's just do that forever until the end of time. And then how quickly that changed after 5 movies. And, you know, and then streaming comes along and just upsets everything. And you think it's going to be the next big thing. And then a few years later, it's like, well, maybe this isn't going to be the next big thing. And this whole thing, and them kind of coming back to this idea of, you know, kind of getting a lot of those. We know Obi-Wan was going to be a movie. We know Skeleton Crew maybe could have been a movie. You know, there was a lot of these things that really could have been films, may have been better as films, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, so I think it's interesting that now they're pulling back from the TV shows, but doing the movies. And doing the movies, I think technically has maybe said as much, you know, in saying that the strategy now is not trilogies. It's not what they were doing with Solo, which was just like, oh, we're going to start kicking these out. And we had this whole grand plan for, we're going to do Solo 1. And then, you know, we're going to do it into a whole trilogy versus just throwing stuff out there and going like, we're going to do this Mandalorian Grogu movie. If it does well, we'll do sequels. If not, we'll do. I guarantee if Starfighter is $1 billion movie, it will get a sequel. Like it happened. They will greenlight that like that. You know, and we're seeing that with a lot of studios now, are just kind of waiting and seeing it. You know, stuff happens and stuff doesn't happen. So I think that is a stronger way to do it. I think, you know, it ultimately, it sucks when things don't do well. There's a lot of great movies nowadays that come out, don't do anything, and they just get forgotten about. It sucks. Marvel's been struggling a lot with that lately. So I don't know. It is fascinating, but that standalone idea, that idea of let's just do a spin-off story that's not focused on the Skywalkers, it perseveres. It lives on. It's continuing. We've gotten a lot of stories like that. We seemingly, that is the majority of the stories that are going to be coming down the pipe for the next little while.
Yeah. One thing that I think doesn't get talked about enough about those sort of first 5 years of new Star Wars movies of 2015 to 2019. We talk a lot about like what went wrong with this movie or that movie, with the production, with the story, all of that stuff. And we can sit here and nitpick, especially the latter 3 of what went wrong, whether you like the movie or dislike the movie and all of that. That part of the story that I think gets overlooked is that they actually were kind of a victim of their own success. Because Force Awakens and Rogue One were not expected to be as successful as they were. Certainly not Rogue One. I think everybody knew that Force Awakens was going to be the biggest movie of the year, and you know, was expected to make well over $1 billion. I don't think it was expected to make $2 billion. Maybe it should have been. But I don't think that was the case going into it. And so they went, wow, that's the benchmark. That's what Star Wars can be. So that's what we're striving for. And then Rogue One, you know, the anthology movies, again, they were like pitched to us as like they're going to be smaller, more like character focused, like more sort of narrowly focused on things. They're not going to be, you know, big grand epics. And so I think the subtext of what they were saying was they're not going to make $1 billion at the box office. They're going to be hits, but they're not going to be huge hits. And then Rogue One comes out and makes $1 billion at the box office. And they go, oh, wow, that's the bar for the standalone films. And now, obviously, Solo was a box office flop by whatever metric you want to use. But if the expectation was $1 billion, wasn't $1 billion, it was 600 million. You know, you're still very, very, very disappointed in what happened with Solo, but it doesn't feel quite as catastrophic. And, you know, 8 and 9 each made $1 billion. I think 8 made 1.3 billion, and 9 I think just made like $1 billion, which is like ridiculously like successful again by any metric for a movie. But because Force Awakens was $2 billion, you know, that 700 million or $1 billion gap between Force Awakens and the other 2 movies feels huge, because that is an outrageous sum of money. Again, we always put it into this context. If somebody came up to you on the street and said, hi, would you like $700 million? You'd be like, yes, of course. And so, you know, Disney looks at it the same way, and they're like, well, we didn't get the $700 million that we got with the other movie. So why is that? This isn't as successful as we wanted it to be. We didn't get the $1 billion that we got with the other movie, you know, all that stuff. So Force Awakens and Rogue One skewed our perspective or perception of what Star Wars could be at the box office. And it certainly skewed Disney's perception. And I think, you know, I hope that Mando Grogu coming out next year, if it does what Superman did and can be seen as like a nice solid success,
yeah, I
think that sort of recontextualizes everybody's expectations. And then all of a sudden you're looking at Mando Grogu going, all right, yeah, $600-700 million. So that's pretty good. All right. Yeah. Let's do a sequel. Let's do a sequel 2 years from now. Somebody call Pedro, you know, like, let's get this going. John, write a script. You only write first drafts anyway. So that's all we need. You know, it can very easily, be that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so dumb. I mean, I've said most of these things before, but now it's probably been 10 years since I've said them, which is weird to think about. But like,
I know.
But like, you know, first of all, there's a historical precedent that the first movie in the Star Wars trilogy is going to make the most amount of money, because everybody is so curious, what is the trilogy going to look like? And then some people decide to stick with it, and some people decide, all right, I didn't like the first one, I'm done. And so you go back to the original. The biggest of the three original trilogy movies in the box office was Star Wars, was A New Hope, because it was that cultural phenomenon. Only a certain amount of people were like, okay, I want to see what happens next. There was a lot of people, but it wasn't the same amount of people that saw the first one. And then you get to the Phantom Menace. That was the one that performed the best of the prequels by a very wide margin. And that's because everybody was so curious, like, what is George Lucas's follow-up to the greatest trilogy of all time going to be? And there was so much hype for that movie. And, you know, a lot of people said, oh, that's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to see episode 2. I'm not going to see episode 3. And so, again, it's no different with the sequels. They shouldn't have expected anything different. The Force Awakens was always going to be the biggest of them. Just historically, that's how it works. Again, we all saw it, and then some people said, all right, I don't like what they did with that, and they didn't see The Last Jedi. They didn't see Rise of Skywalker. Same thing. So there's that. And then the other thing that I think is important to add there, and again, I've said it before, but we'll say it again, is that for a while, Star Wars was in the groove of coming out in May. All the Star Wars things that come out in May. But when they did the refresh, going from 2005 to 2015 and coming in with the sequels, they set a precedent of Star Wars being in December, and they tied it very, very closely to being a holiday thing. They got us primed with it by having the first trailer for The Force Awakens come out during American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So they got us ready to this idea of, okay, you're gonna get Star Wars during the holidays, and already Star Wars was such a big thing during the holidays because of just the merchandising, the toys. That's when most of the sales of Star Wars merchandising was happening, was during the holidays. When you're
one of the most like legendary stories is the friggin' empty box from 77. Like, you know, they didn't have the toys ready.
So it was a brilliant idea to put The Force Awakens and Rogue One out on the 15th and 16th or whatever it was of December.
15th and 16th. Sorry, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the 8th and 16th. Yes. And I'm mixing that up with the fact one of them was in. I'm thinking of the years, 15 and 16.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it was a brilliant idea, and so I think to not put, and I think it was supplanted by Avatar, if I remember correctly, right? But to not put the Solo movie out in December of 2018. Yeah, because they did again with the Force with the Last Jedi too. So 3 straight years. I forgot about that one. 3 straight years, and then they break that cycle, and then put it out in May, which May had changed by then. May became Marvel month. May became, you're going to get Marvel, you're going to get a few other big summer blockbusters. It wasn't Star Wars' month anymore. It was Star Wars Day, but in the theaters, it wasn't Star Wars month. And so to make that change, it's like, for me, like, we were all concerned about it. We were all worried about it. We knew that it potentially was a bad idea. For them to have an oversight on that is just mind blowing, and to this day, and it's like, you
they
know,
so badly wanted it too. That's the other part of that is they so badly wanted it. Because if you go back and you look at like you go read like the Wikipedia pages for Last Jedi, Solo, and Rise of Skywalker, at different points, all of those movies had May release dates. They so badly wanted to put it in May, and then with Force Awakens, JJ forced their hand and said, "I can't finish the movie in time for May." Then they basically same thing happened with Rogue One. And then Last Jedi, they looked at how successful Force Awakens was in December and went, shoot, we better do that again. And then Solo, they're like, no, we are sticking to our guns here. And then Episode 9 comes around. Basically, the same thing happens where JJ forces them to do it for December because otherwise he can't finish it. Because at that time he's replacing Trevorrow and he needs to rewrite the whole script. So basically we have JJ Abrams to thank for that, and I do. And it's funny now that they are getting what they want because we're back to May. And Marvel is going to take the December thing, as Ben was saying earlier. They're flip-flopping. And that this time it seems to be maybe a little bit more of a practicality with the Marvel stuff that they just can't finish their movies on time. But they were going to do both a Marvel movie and Mando Grogu both in May, which always felt nuts. Like why are you undercutting your two biggest franchises? Always, you could have had more money if you spread it out over the year.
But yeah, hopefully this starts a new good cycle of Star Wars movies in May, Marvel staying away from that, doing early April or late June or something like that if they're going to do something in the spring, and then we can get Starfighter and the Taika Waititi movie and things like that all in May, and then just have that rhythm going, and then not worry about having to cancel the future things that are coming.
All right. I think that's a pretty good place to leave it. We've got there's more questions that we will get to in future weeks. So Gilster, Dr. Hugh, Joel.
There's always more questions.
Several from Joel, Ingenious, and anyone else who wants to submit questions. We will get to those next week or week after that or some point down the line.
Hey, let's all cross our fingers that there's no news and there's definitely no Mando and Grogu trailer. We'll actually read all the questions next week. How about that? Could be. We got some time to kill until the Lego Star Wars thing comes out. So why not spend it on questions? But with that, I think we can begin to wrap things up for this week.
All right, thank you everybody so much for watching, and thank you for waiting a fortnight for another episode as well. We appreciate your patience on that. Hopefully we'll be back again next week with another show. But until then, you can follow us on social media at the SWU. Dominic, thank you so much for hosting.
It's my pleasure. As always, it was great fun getting into all the stuff that we talked about here tonight. Very excited to see Matt Smith, what he's going to bring to the galaxy, and look forward to watching Star Wars in the theaters for many months in 2027. That should be a lot of fun. I will plug, as always, if you want to check out my Substack, if you want to read some of my thoughts on Star Wars, you can go to dominicgjones.substack.com or search for Hoth Off the Press. Right now everybody's very excited. The Bad Batch novel came out, this big novel tie-in to a beloved animated series. So I figured what the people want right now is an extensive breakdown of a different series of junior novels that was a tie-in to a different animated series from a decade ago. So what everybody wants is my Servants of the Empire quadrilogy review just 10 years later after those books stopped being published. But those are really good books. Don't be scared off by the fact that they're Rebels junior novels tie-ins. They're actually really good and actually feel more like Andor tie-ins in a way. So read that tomorrow. DominicGJones.substack.com. Been a great show. Can't wait to do all this again in 7 days' time.
And you can follow Dominic on social media at DominicJ25. Ben, thank you so much for hosting too.
Oh, it was a pleasure as always, and we'll see where it goes. What are you pointing at?
Trying to point at my handle because said Dominic. I'm trying to. trying to point at it. There it is.
Yeah,
Got the wires in the way.
It's very hard. It's very hard to get it in the right place.
Yeah. Wires.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
D&D. Don't forget D&D tomorrow night, 9-ish Eastern. We will be playing. We'll be continuing the party. I actually skipped out on the last one, so I don't know what happened last time. I missed the ending. Last time we were in a house. We're in a house. We're exploring this house. There was a water monster. There was something else in there. I don't know what's going to happen next. Come if you want to play, you can play. If you just want to observe, you can observe. Should be a heck of a lot of fun. Hopefully within I think it's going to take us several weeks to actually get through this one campaign. So it's going to be pretty wild. Join Bilbo Banks and the whole team and see what happens next.
Oh man, the bravest little banker of them all. Let's go. All right, at Ben Hart with no E's, where you can follow Ben on social media. You can follow me at Seekell. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Hit the become a channel member button. Leave us a review if you're listening on a podcast app. That Discord link to join the D&D is in the description. And next up, we got other shows on the Star Wars Underworld Network: the Raeside, Iron Cannon, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, Tractor Beam, and more throughout the week. Check that stuff out. All right, for Ben and Dom, my name is Chris, and may the Force be with you.
It's a wrap.